I started rapping to those soulful beats. I picked the Heat Makers beat, you know what I'm saying? And that became our sound. You understand what I'm saying? Don't ever understand who I am. Like, I'm him. Even just to saying Dipset, I said that in a rhyme and we became Dipset. Because we was the set. And you know, as being blood, you know, it's like rep your set. So we was the Dipset.
Juelz Santana from the Dipset says he created the Dipset sound. Plus he replies to Cameron saying that he was somewhat lazy. This is Fresh Hip Hop Opinion with your guy Oleezeh. Don't forget to subscribe. So, Juelz Santana, the Prince of the City. He's been missing in action for a long time, but he's back with an interview with Art of Dialogue, and he's asked basically if he felt a certain way when Cam said Juelz was somewhat lazy. Even though Cam kind of cleared that up, he said he did kind of allude that Juelz was somewhat lazy. Anyway, Juelz is asked a question and he answers that, and he also goes into more. Check out the clip.
It ain't even that. It's because I know the truth. Even, you know what I'm saying? Even now, I got a hard drive full of music. So don't get lazy with not putting out music and having, you know what I'm saying? And, you know what I mean? Because the fans misinterpret that sometimes. So, you know, and nobody's ever said that. Even like in the interview with Cancer, I'm not going to say they or nobody specifically said. Because deep down, Nick to know, like Juelz, like just look at the track record. From the mixtapes, 4 solo mixtapes, Final Destination, Back Like Cook Crack, whole series, 1, 2, 3, 4. All the Diplomat mixtapes that we did. The whole Diplomatic, the Diplomatic Immunity album was my album. Diplomatic Immunity album was my album. It was all my album. You understand what I'm saying? We decided to put an album out to help catapult my album. You understand what I'm saying? Let's put out, the more looks you get, the better you're off, you know what I'm saying, when your album come out. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it worked. It made sense to me, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we did. Let's put the Diplomat album out. Because at first I'm like, let's put my album out. Why are we putting the Diplomat albums out? Then Cam explained to me, no, we gonna get you the first single. This gonna be the, you know what I'm saying? But all of those was my records. I had one verse on. I used to be one verse. I used to do one verse in the hook, one verse in the hook, go to the next song, one verse in the hook. Built This City, I'm Ready, all those songs. And Cam and Jim wound up putting verses on it. That whole sound, you know what I'm saying? Not to say it like that, but listen to I mean, before I came along, like, I started rapping to those soulful beats. I picked the Heat Makers beat, you know what I'm saying? And that became our sound. You understand what I'm saying? Don't ever understand who I am. Like, I'm him. Even just to saying Dipset, I said that in a rhyme and we became Dipset. Because we was the set. And you know, as being blood, you know, it's like rep your set. So we was the Dipset. You understand what I'm saying? I said, come on, man, understand who I am. Understand me. I'm really, really him. You know what I'm saying? I'm really him.
Yeah, fam, Juelz Santana. I'm not gonna lie, if you've seen the visual of this, it looks like he's still on some substances. I don't know. I know he had an issue with, I think, drinking lean. But, you know, if you look at his mannerisms and how he sounds, he doesn't even sound like Juelz anymore. He sounds a bit nasal and a bit erratic, like, you know, repeating his words and stuttering a little bit. But besides that, we don't know, that's speculation. But I like how he answered the whole Cam calling him lazy thing, because even though you can still kind of tell that him and Cameron don't quite get along as well as Juelz and Jim Jones do, but he kind of just swayed past it. He was like, yeah, they didn't really say I'm lazy anyway. They kind of just said something else. But he kind of more was explaining himself in terms of how much music he's got out there. He's got loads of music. And even Cam, when he had his interview, he said Juelz has loads of music, he just doesn't put it out. Which is weird why he doesn't put it out, because obviously you make a lot more money from it. But what I did find interesting was him talking about how he invented the Dipset sound, that really sped up soulful sound, because the Diplomatic Immunity album was all his album, and those were the ones that had these soulful beats. So he had selected those beats for his album. Then Jim Jones and Cameron jumped on the tracks, and that became the Dipset sound. And that's kind of interesting, because really Dipset did have that sound, and the fact that Juelz was the one that picked the beats for that to be the album is kind of crazy. Whether Cam really agrees with this and he might have a different memory of how that process started, we'll have to wait and see. But then he also kind of stretched it out and said he invented the name Dipset. I think Cam would definitely have a response to that. I mean, but why would Juelz say it if it wasn't true at the same time? But I don't know, I'm getting a whole bit of a substance abuse vibe from Juelz. I haven't seen him in an interview for maybe a couple of years, and he definitely wasn't acting like this. He's moving a bit too much, and he's talking a bit differently. I don't know if anyone felt that way as well. If you did, let me know in the comments. But Juelz, man, it's crazy to see him in that way, because at one point around that 2003, 2005 era, he was the guy in hip hop. Even though I wasn't the biggest Juelz fan, but I know everybody around me loved Juelz. They thought he was the next guy, the coolest guy, the most swag, best rhymes. People felt like he was the next one up. He was to put it into perspective, he was on par with Lil Wayne. That's why they were doing that joint mixtape stuff back in the day, because everyone kind of saw them as equals and both like heir to the throne of hip hop kind of thing. When Jay-Z dropped out in 50, you know them. Well, not somewhere when Jay-Z dropped out, but as in terms of the young bunch coming through. But you saw where Wayne took it, and we saw where Juelz took it. He didn't do nothing. Like, Juelz literally did 2 albums his whole career. He did loads of mixtapes, but in terms of official released albums, he only did 2 albums. The first one I kind of liked it actually, and he has hits. He has hits for days. Let's not forget Juelz in terms of his hits. He's someone that you can definitely easily forget how many hits he has just because he's been away for so long. I mean, his last album was 2005, which is crazy. Like, it's his last official label album anyway. But anyway, people, I'm going to leave a link to the Art of Dialogue interview with Juelz Santana in the description so you can watch it in full. But people, let me know what you think about this audio I just played for you anyway, and what I've been saying about Juelz Santana. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It's fresh hip hop opinion. Peace and love.
I started rapping to those soulful beats. I picked the Heat Makers beat, you know what I'm saying? And that became our sound. You understand what I'm saying? Don't ever understand who I am. Like, I'm him. Even just to saying Dipset, I said that in a rhyme, and it became Dipset, because we was the set. And you know, as being blood, you know, it's like rep your set. So we was the Dipset.